Welcome to the GoonRogan Podcast. Today I have Barian, the Guildmaster of Frostbane and Firebane. And today we will be doing a deep dive on the guild and some of the fun things the Barian has done in WoW and a little lore of Barian himself. So, welcome Barian.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, I'm going to start off with thanking you, giving me your time to be able to do this.
Yeah, of course, buddy. Anytime.
So, you can go as deep as you want, or you can just say you'd rather not talk about it, but we would like to get to know you a little bit more on your personal life.
Oh, cool.
So,
Sure.
um, so whatever you wanna talk about your personal life, that'd be
Oh,
nice to know.
yeah. Yeah. Where should I start? So I've ran communities before. Back when I was a kid, I actually ran a um, clan, I guess you'd call it. That's what we called it when we were younger. Um, we had quite a few different people. I remember when I was younger, I actually had a website set up too. We had about 300 people signed up from GTA, from being social and all that. And I
Shit.
remember it got so chaotic. Yeah, it got really chaotic. Basically, in the free mode in GTA 4, which is where we did it, it could only hold a maximum of 16 people. And we kept on running into the issue of like we would fill up all the free modes. So we would have to like consistently try to get people to handle setting up lobbies and stuff like that. Um, that led to like a lot of conflict with other clans at that time. A lot of people ran GTA clans. I had a lot of rivals. We did a lot of shit talk. Like, what's strange is I think nowadays, people are a lot more nervous about shit talk. But way back when in GTA 4, Xbox 360 days, that's all anyone ever did. Like people
Yeah.
were so unabashed about shit talking. Like I would get voice messages of from different people. I'd get stalked to other games. Like I would play Mortal Kombat 9, and then like old people from other clans would try to like fight me in Mortal Kombat and stuff.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun though. Like as crazy and chaotic as it got, I really enjoyed spending time with my friends because it also led to us playing like Minecraft together, and we made like big cities and stuff like that. I remember when Xbox 360 Minecraft version came out, you could only have, I think it was like 8 people, and every time we'd have a full 8 people, so we'd have to like be selective with who played. But I remember it being really fun. We'd all joke around. There was so much chaos even in there. People would steal from each other. There'd be like little mini drama situations, but drama was like so common too that it almost became a joke. So anything that happened uh, or anything that any drama that came up just eventually came into a joke. So yeah, and I guess on a personal note, there's not much to know about me. I'm really into fitness. I've been into powerlifting
Oh
for
shit.
quite some time. I've entered two meets, but it wasn't official meets. It wasn't like sanctioned by any powerlifting thing. It was just one for the gym.
Yeah,
My
so
best lifts
something.
are like
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Um, I got I got second place at both of them, so
Oh shit.
it kind of sucked because yeah, the it sucked because the guy who did beat me was really roided out. Like he was very like who's the short guy who was Arnold's friend? He kind of looked like
Uh,
him, like the same level of like muscularity. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to really talk about. What do you think?
um, like if it's all about like uh how you personally feel about sharing. If you don't think there's anything else you want to share, you don't have to. And we can like
Oh,
start getting
yeah,
back into the actual WoW questions I have.
sure. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot I can think of, like actually this is I guess another thing would be this is the first character I've hit 60 with on any classic servers ever.
Shit,
And
really?
that's mainly because I got invested in the guild. My first ever 60 at hardcore and in classic in general was this warrior here. So this warrior to me is someone I try not to take too many risks with, but that being said, I do, farm winter spring. I do take a lot of risks, and when
Yeah.
I'm doing dungeons, I'm usually tanking. So obviously, it's gonna be unavoidable.
Yeah, so off that, when was the first time you played WoW?
That's tough to say. I think it would probably be during Wrath of Lich King. My first character
Yeah.
was a probably either a mage, but I remember the main one that I got really invested in was a Blood Elf Paladin during Wrath of Lich King, and I thought that was really fun. So,
Yeah, so what do you remember like doing with your What If Paladin during Wrath? Like, did you raid PvP or were you more like a casual
I
player
was,
during that time?
I, w- yeah, I was more of a casual player because I was younger. I was like 13 or something like that. So, yeah, didn't
Yeah,
do much raiding.
I feel that a lot though. So, how when did you learn about hardcore and what got you like hooked onto it and into it?
I learned about hardcore during the last server. The highest level character I ever lost in the last hardcore server was like a 20 warrior. But what really got me into it was actually because I had been preaching for years, like probably I would say at least for like 10 years, that like a hardcore MMO was a great idea, and I would love it even if they did it with like I was actually playing on vanilla private servers with friends and stuff like that, and I would mention I'm like, they should do like a hardcore version of this. Um, so when it actually did finally come out, I was like, awesome. Like this is what I was actually looking forward to. That being said, uh, like the last server, it was fun, but like I said, it was missing a lot of things. I think the way they've done this server is a lot better. They updated the graphics, they added in dual spec. The server's just more alive too. The previous server, it was, kind of big, but this server's a lot more active in comparison, it feels like.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with you on there. Like, I played a little bit of the other one, but it never like got me into wanting to try and hit 60. It just felt uh like another classic server that I've already played. Hmm.
Right.
So you said this is your first warrior getting to 60. Have you had any like crazy near death experiences with him?
Quite a few. Actually, the blue cloak you can get, which gives you 5 fire resist, saved my life on this character. I was leveling in Westfall. Defias Pillager was about to do the last hit. It got a full resist proc because of the back piece. So that's one time where it was directly saved. I almost died in Stranglethorn. I teamed with a couple people. We were gonna kill the 3 ogre bosses that were there, the 3 elites. I was like, all right, I guess I'm tanking it. Like they basically kind of like pressured me a bit, and then I was like, maybe I'm just being like, a little too cautious. But there was a dead body right next to the 3 ogre elites. So I went in, I tried to tank it. They nuked me down to maybe like 5% HP to the point to where I got legitimately like really worried with like just like the 3 first initial hits. And then I just target dummied. I used the whistle from Scarlet to summon the dog, and then I just sprinted out of there. But
Gosh.
it was just super close, and the adrenaline was so intense
Dude,
because like at
I
that point I already had the guild built up and everything. So
yeah, I know the elites you're talking about because on the PvP realm, I actually did that with a group as well on my ret, and they hurt. You wouldn't think they would hurt, but they just destroy you, and it's super insane.
yeah, yeah, I had no
So
idea. Like a lot of this stuff is new to me, so I've had to have like a pretty high learning curve. I've tried to
yeah,
research as much as I can, and when we do BRD and stuff like that in the future, I'll be sure to watch more informational videos. I've already ran it once already, but I'll make sure to do extra due diligence to make sure no one wipes.
so are you ready for the questions I'm most excited for? Because this is going back towards
Sure.
like more the lore of the guild. This is the like this is like the part where like I want like we can use as a reference for new guild members whenever they come in so they can completely understand like how this guild what happened and everything. So obviously first question is going to be how did Frostbane start?
Um, well, I originally got kicked from my last guild for disagreeing with a guild leader about pirate software. Basically, the guild leader was saying that pirate software did nothing wrong, and I said that I wouldn't group with him, and then he ended up kicking me. That guild no longer exists, but I was like, I really want like to be part of a guild where you can say mostly whatever you want. Like, obviously, it can't be a 100% free speech zone, but
Yeah.
for the most part, people shouldn't get kicked for disagreements. People shouldn't get um, treated poorly because they're not like a WoW elitist or they're not like super experienced. So I wanted to create like an environment where people could have fun, make friends, and not be worried about like random shit like that because it's not really fun. And in WoW, like even though it is a game, that sort of like shitty behavior of like kicking people, treating people like shit, it's like people are also lots of different people are going through a lot of real life struggles. And I just hate knowing that a lot of these guilds will kind of like abuse their members in a way, like doing stuff like that, like kicking for random reasons and doing all these sorts of things. Because there are people who have like joined the guild, for instance, who are like, oh, like this guild is great. My husband's been in a coma for the past 60 days or something like that, which is something someone said, but it kind of gives me the opportunity too to help that person out and give them gear, give them a good time, and just kind of spread some kind of positivity. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's important. Like I know for most people they're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Heard
it's a
of
game,
that.
whatever. But it's like, yeah, it is, but there's another person on the other side, and when you act shitty towards someone else and you put your baggage on them, that's still gonna affect them in the real world.
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
But yeah, and that's kind of where Frostbane came from. Originally, the guild name I was going to go with was the Anti-Simp Squad because I thought it was funny. So if you take Anti-Simp Squad, it just shows like ass. So I thought that was also funny. But then I was like, that might be a bit too much. So I ended up just going with my old deal name that I made in retail, which was Frostbane. Originally, the intent for Frostbane was to be for Frost Mages, where I only invited mages.
Oh.
But I was like, this makes more sense to have it be the way it is now. So
And so it's came a very long way from your original thought.
yeah, for sure.
So this is gonna come up for Firebane now. So when and how did you decide to start Firebane? And what is the main purpose of Firebane? Um, I, I know like you've been busy with other stuff, and I know me and Viet have been questioned a lot about the purpose of Firebane. So if you could go into detail about that, that'd be helpful because I still like I kind of know it, but I still don't know the full story.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like Frostbane. Originally, one of the things was there's a few reasons. So the first thing, Frostbane was getting really full, and it was really hard to get new people. And in my mind, I still had it that it's like because basically I ended up starting alts and stuff like that. And then I checked out some of these other guilds. Some of the guilds were like WoW, hardcore, classic community, or whatever it was called, and they were just gold sellers. But there's people inside of it that were like legitimately trying to help each other, but they were kind of like helping out a guild that was just for gold selling. And it kind of bothered me, and I wanted to continue expanding Frostbane, but there's a member cap of 1,000. So I wanted to create Firebane or a second guild so that way other people can join in, still be part of a good experience, still be part of a positive experience. But it wasn't really possible just with Frostbane alone. Another reason was I actually wanted to do events with other guilds. So like I wanted to do versus events and have like rivalries with other guilds. But it's really hard in World of Warcraft to know who the GM is, and I've actually tried in the early days of Frostbane to contact other guilds, but no one was really interested in doing like Makara versus. No one was interested in doing like outside game events and looking beyond the scope of like we're gonna do in-game raid gear, or we're gonna do in-game raiding. We're gonna focus on getting raid gear. It's like it's not too creative, and it's really hard to work with people like that. So that's another reason why I created Firebane. I'm like, now we can actually have that. We can have a rival guild. It'll be an extension of Frostbane. Um, we'll be able to have that second guild to make things like that work, and it'll be fun. And the plan was that it would be like a multi-step plan. So eventually, once Firebane got full, Frostbane got full, we'd even do maybe even a third or fourth guild, depending on how active the server is, just to like kind of expand and then also create these like dynamic events. Because in all honesty, it's something I've wanted to do for a long time. Like I always thought, something like this would be cool, like having a big organization versus another organization, sort of like sports teams. One of the reasons why people get so invested, having their home team and stuff like that. And I thought that a lot of people would enjoy it. And I also just wanted to see how well it would go. Like, everyone has ideas of like, ooh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but rarely do people put themselves on the spot and say like, all right, let's actually do it and see how it turns out, see how everyone else feels about it.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few reasons for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to do those big events if you pretty much do it by yourself and try to get it up and going. Because I understand, like, trying to find, like, the guild master of other guilds is, like, super hard. Especially if they're not on a lot and or on alts and aren't, like, messaging back and wanting to do anything. So I completely understand that. So you
Yeah.
also answered my other question, which was what makes Firebane and Frostbane different from the other guilds already. So we'll skip that. And so you also answered it a little bit, but I'd like to go a bit more deeper. What's the future for Frostbane and Firebane? Like, where do you?
Yeah, I mean it could be a few different ways. Like, so eventually WoW will, like WoW Classic Hardcore, it'll reach its final phase and it'll start dying down. I think we could take it possibly to Ashes of Creation eventually with the people who stick around. Like, the whole thing is too, this is also just kind of slowly getting filtered with people leaving, joining, going through this process, because at the end of it, like at the end of the phases and all that, we'll actually just have a legitimate community of people, and we can move forward with any name, either it be Frostbane, Firebane, or an entirely new name. This is just like the beginnings of a larger community, and that's kind of the vision I have, because I miss that. I didn't realize how important it was when I was a kid, when I had that community of people I got to hang out with every day, and how until I started, like, there was like a few years after I ran that clan to where I just kind of like did my own thing, and I just always look back at that very fondly. Even the small things of like, we would play like Minecraft and there'd be like drama, like someone get upset because basically what had happened in this little Minecraft server was I appointed someone to be the head guard, and the first thing he did was become corrupt, and he started planting evidence on people and then throwing them in jail for no reason. So they had an uprising, and then they killed him, but he got upset that he actually did die and that they had an uprising with wood swords. Um, and then he ended up quitting and getting upset. It didn't turn into much, but there was lots of like little moments like that that I remembered, and that's kind of like the future I want with Frostbane, Firebane moving forward, is a community of people that can go not just from World of Warcraft, but to other games like I said, Ashes of Creation, or maybe if they do decide to do TBC Hardcore, we'll just move on to TBC Hardcore. Like right now, Blizzard said that they're not willing to do it, but I'm sure if just a big streamer says something, they'll probably do it.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I think it'd be fun if they did a TPC hardcore, especially if they at least made the level entry instead of 1 to, like, what it was 1 to 70, right? They could
yeah.
because I know in TBC like there's so many things that can just randomly kill you. They could make it start at 58, and then we could do a couple of the like in game classic dungeons and zones before we go right into TBC, or we have to start in TBC at 58, which is already sketchy. So I think that'd be a fun little thing they could do to make TBC hardcore a lot more viable. But I know there'd be some people who would want to do 1 to 70 as well.
I mean, I think like personally, if I had to choose anything for them to do, I would choose them to just continue Classic Hardcore Anniversary and just add in extra phases, just like they did with Season of Discovery. And then just go based off of what the community wants. So every time they want to do like a new dungeon, new raid, they communicate with people, understand what they want, similar to what the Ash the Creation dev team do. They're consistently interacting, but they should choose not just people who are vocal, but people who have a lot of experience. Like I do think some of these like streamers and stuff like that, they've been playing for like 20 plus years. They do nothing but play this game. It's like you could just add one of these people as a consultant. They'll do it for free. You could,
Yeah.
contact people on BattleNet who have like, 500 hours in classic hardcore anniversary already. Like a lot of these people, like there could be a very small, it could be 100 hours, or you have to have a character who hit 60 on classic hardcore. Talk to those people, and it wouldn't be hard to set that up to figure out what people would want. But that's what I prefer. I'm not sure how realistic that is, though. I don't think it's very realistic.
Yeah, because that is a lot of time and like work just to be able to get all those people together, or not even together, but just all the feedback and work off of that feedback too.
Yeah, for sure.
So, um, what is it gonna be like raiding with Firebane and Frostbane? How do you plan on going through like um dungeon content and then into raiding content? Like, what's the whole plan around that?
So for the actual just goals, it would be first we're just gonna try to get like 5 man consistent. Like I just want to be able to run daily BRD runs with people, get to know them better, get them the gear they need, get all the recipes or whatever. Then to slowly move from that to then Ubers. So then we'll be taking probably 5 people from Frostbane, 5 people from Firebane, or something else like 3 people from Firebane, some people from Frostbane. However we do it, um, and then slowly work towards Onyxia. Um, but I want to wait until it makes the most sense and it's not as much of a risk for people, because I
Yeah,
don't really want people to be like, oh, I should do this because I'm feeling peer pressured into doing it. Like this is supposed to be more of a relaxed thing, so it should be everyone's prepared. Like we have some goals in place. Like maybe we'll, like I talk about at the meetings, eventually try to do a world first attempt. You know, um, through some of the methods I've talked about. And then at that point, we'll start doing like Onyxia, maybe Molten Core, whatever people want to do. So long as, like I said, it's not like a peer pressure thing or people feel like they don't want to. Something I also want to do before that happens is have a couple of 60 ults. Like that's why also I'm leveling Baryun. So if Baryon dies, I can go back in main tank. So it's like I want to take full responsibility for the raid as the guild leader. So if my character dies, I'll bring in a second one to main tank. That way people don't have to worry about taking on extra risk. So that's also
yeah,
something I want to do before we start really raiding.
yeah. That's completely fair. Because I mean, I think everyone going into raid also understands the risk, but I know there's a lot of people who want to do it mostly because of the risk factor and like the adrenaline it can bring and everything like that.
For sure, yeah. There's quite a few people who are like that. I get that. It'll be really fun. I think when we do it, it'll be hype. It'll mean more though if we wait and we all get to know each other better, because if someone dies, like for instance you join like a raid guild, someone dies, it doesn't really mean anything. Whereas if you're
Yeah,
playing with people you get to know, it just means so much more. Like the experience is so hollow if you're not doing it with people that you've met. Like it'll just be that much more fun for sure.
yeah, I totally agree, and I just think for just raiding in general, just having that like synergy of already playing together and knowing how each other plays and everything and how everybody thinks is just gonna make raiding a lot more smoother, and everyone won't be as worried because they'll have full faith in the like healers or the tanks and full faith in the DPS being able to do their jobs and to listen and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think, that's what I love about hardcore too, and something I wanted to talk about at the meeting was hardcore also kind of like shows you who your true friends are. Like if you see someone roach out, you know that person's not really your true friend. Like there's almost like
Yeah.
a friendship test whenever you play hardcore, because you sink so much time into this character. Um, and if someone just abandons you in the middle of mid combat, like that person was never your friend. And it's better you find out in Hardcore Classic, and maybe you lose a character, but it saves you so much time and it allows you to value yourself higher because you're sorting through people who otherwise wouldn't have been a good friend.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. Honestly, that is a really great way to figure out who would be like, obviously like your friends and everything, but who could possibly like kill people during raid as well, and you wouldn't want that obviously in hardcore raids.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I like personally, I want to just be surrounded with people who I trust because I know I go really far for friends and I sacrifice a lot for people. And so I want to respect myself and make sure I'm surrounding myself with people who I can genuinely trust.
I agree with you 100% on that one.
I think there's probably no worse feeling than the feeling of betrayal. So that's something also I just, anyone who, I think most people have experienced that at some point in their life. So it's unfortunate, but.
Yeah. Well, we got all those questions out of the way. You want to have a couple fun questions to end this on?
Sure, absolutely.
So, if you had to choose to die, so we're gonna say this is on your 60, okay? Just to make it a lot more fun.
Mhm.
You get to choose to die. Would you rather die to Murlocs or to fall damage?
Oof. Maybe fall damage because I feel like losing to Murlocs might be worse. Like I feel like if you died to fall damage, you could still argue that you're a good player, whereas if you're died to Murlocs, it might be like a skill issue type thing. Because fall you can happen while you're AFKing, or like you're AFK
Yeah,
running, that is.
yeah. That's how Munya died. Because I didn't die to fall damage. I was AFK running into a horde camp.
Oh wow, that's too bad.
Okay. So would you rather survive with 1 HP and no gear, or full gear and get DC'd and Stranglethorn?
Survive with 1 HP, you said, and no gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather survive with no HP and no gear than get DC'd and Stranglethorn for sure.
Why?
Because I think like DCing and Stranglethorn is almost guaranteed death with all the patrols and how far the mobs go. Whereas if you survive with 1 HP, you're alive. So
Yeah, but it doesn't say where in Stranglethorn. So you could be in Booty Bay and just get DC'd there.
oh, true, true. Um, but if you're
Or,
surviving with 1 HP, you're guaranteed to be alive.
yeah. So you're
So
still
yeah,
gonna
I
go with
think
that
that's
one?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So okay. Uh, what is your most embarrassing cause of death? You have to tell the truth. You can't hold back on
Hmm.
this.
I died in the last server on my 25 warrior, and that was like the biggest death, the most high level death I had, and that was just from farming dead mines. And I was teaming with someone, they went AFK, and then I pulled some mobs, and I just couldn't handle it. And I actually panicked in the last server, so I was already fighting a few mobs. It was too much for me, so instead of like, I didn't activate the abilities at the right time, so I just ended up running out of it, and I trained every single mob, and then I just died. And I was just like so embarrassing. I was like, oh my god. And it was like there's no reason for it. I wasn't doing a quest, I was just farming runes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, at least you went out fighting. There's
yeah, I
that.
was fighting, but then yeah. But then I was like, oh my god, there's like three of them, and then I just started booking it. And then I'm like, holy shit. Yeah.
So this is a good segue into the next one. If you could punch a zone in the face, which one would it be and why?
Westfall because it's I think it's where every time I've died on even the previous server.
That's
Westfall is so
honestly, I agree with
annoying.
you.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be the same question, but instead of a zone, what dungeon would you want to punch in the face?
Sunken Temple. I think Sunken Temple, like, it's just so annoying being so worried about falling through the floor. I think that's the most annoying thing in any dungeon I've ever seen. Like being super, super worried, like, oh my god, I could fall through the floor and I could glitch out.
I've never had that happen to me before. I didn't
In
even know that
Sunken
was a
Temple, have
thing.
you? Yeah, yeah. So in certain
I
spots,
know there's like
even when we were running up the
holes. Are you
steps.
talking about the holes or like you actually just
No,
fall
no, I'm
through the
saying like,
ground?
yeah, you fall through the world and then you die. So it happens when you're going up the steps. It's not fixed.
I've never seen that
It's the classic
before,
bugs.
and I'm just never gonna run Sunken Temple on hardcore, I guess.
I was even given a lip because we were getting run through by someone who was a WoW sweat. Because he was like, "Yeah, go ahead and activate that. If you fall through the world, that'll help save you." And I'm like, "That shouldn't be a concern," but it is. So yeah,
Um, I think I know. I think we already know the answer to this one, but same question. But what mob would you want to punch in the face?
Ice Pillager. I
That's
hate those things
fair.
so much. The fire damage is insane.
Yeah, and there's like, especially as a warrior, if you if you're not running a sword and shield by the time they have that, it's just cooked if you miss your weapon swings and everything.
Yeah, for sure. How about you? What would your mob?
Oh, um, it's gonna be the undead fire guys and Western Plaguelands around the town in the middle.
Oh, the Searing Ghouls. Yeah.
Yeah, as a Pharaoh player and a Rogue player, it annoys the crap out of me because I can't stealth right away. And then I'll just
Right.
pull more mobs, and it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I mean they've killed some high level people before, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're dangerous, and they're all around the edge too. So it's the
They're
first mob
also
you have to
easy to
kill.
underestimate.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because like they look similar to there's another one that looks exactly like it, and the other ones they don't really do much, but that one has insane fire damage. And unless you know that the name difference, that the Searing Ghoul is different than whatever the other red ghoul is called, you'll never know. So it's like a
yeah.
trap card. So yeah,
So you ready for this question? Because I want to know this one so bad.
it's that.
You're 1 HP in a cave with a respawning mobs, no hearth, no pots. What's your escape plan?
I'm in a what did you say?
A cave,
Oof. No pots and no what?
no hearth, no pots.
Well, I mean, in this case, I would have the dog still. And if I'm in the middle of it, I would rely on the dog. I would have, I guess, no pots. I mean, I would still have target dummies. So I would target dummy and hope the dog could fend them off as I slowly head out or run out. Since I've been in a similar situation like that, and that helped save me. So those two items can really save you.
See,
Besides that, like if I didn't,
Mhm.
what's up?
I thought you were gonna say you were gonna use the dog to protect you while you ate, so you could get your HP back.
No, I'd book it. Because the dog would die pretty fast. Because I'm level 60, so if it was 60 mobs, the dog would take maybe 1 to 2 hits before
Yeah,
it
that's
exploded.
true.
It's basically just like an extra couple hits of a target dummy.
So this is all on you, but which class do you silently judge for dying in dumb ways?
Paladin, I would say. Paladin or Hunter, because Paladin is the easiest class to level with. Like, I've played Paladin quite a few times now. I never got it to 60, but I've seen new players hit 60 with Paladin, and that bubble always saves you. It's that simple. Like, you're in trouble, all you have to
Mm-hmm.
do is bubble. So,
Yeah, so I played on
and
the
Hunters have
hmm?
What's up?
No, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say hunters have feigned death and the pet. Like I would say they're second to me because
Yeah,
uh, it still has some complexity, whereas paladin doesn't have much complexity. Like even when you're leveling, it's super simple.
yeah. So I was gonna say, I actually play a Rep Paladin on the PvP server, and the amount of times all I had to do was just Hodge. And I don't. Most of the time, I wouldn't have to bubble unless if there was multiple targets on me. So if you don't have repentance, say like you're going a holy prop build, just Hodge one, then bubble while running away, and by the time they're like by the time the bubble's out, they shouldn't be attacking you. Like it's just
Right.
so
Yeah,
stupid if you
it's
die.
super easy. Yeah. And it's not just that. It's not just bubble. You also have lay on hands too.
Yeah,
So at worst, you have a full heal after you get invincibility. Like how much easier can you really make it?
yeah. It's insanely easy to not die as a paladin, but people find ways, and I don't know how. So
Yeah, I don't know.
the final question I have is, what's your most hold my beer moment at hardcore?
Hmm. Um, I haven't actually taken on too crazy of challenges, I don't think so far. Um,
It can also be past characters that you played.
um, there's nothing I can really think of that was too crazy. With this character, I was pretty careful because of the guild. Like I tried not to take too many risks. I didn't try to do anything
Yeah.
dumb. Even when doing dungeons, I did it really cautiously, and then I overgeared every time. That's because I have like a streak of no one dying while I'm tanking, and that's super important to me to keep that going. So I usually don't have any hold my beer moments because I'm always cautious.
So what I'm hearing is, if I ran with you on the warlock, I could have been your first person to die and break your cherry.
What you're talking about with your warlock? What do you mean,
Cause we ran a Dead Mines last week, I think.
Brett?
Um,
Yeah. And you're saying you're gonna like kill your character in order to break that rule, to break
yeah,
that streak?
I could have breaking your streak, pop your cherry.
Well, preferably I'd like it never broken, but yeah, it's possible.
But it'd be nice to be
But
the
yeah, even
first
on the
one.
yeah, I prefer just never anybody for sure, especially when we're doing like 60 stuff. Like I'm gonna make sure I'm always over prepared. Like that Overlord meme, right, where he does all
Yeah,
the buffs. That's similar to how I want to tank and just be cautious with everything.
no, that's super fair. Like, I feel you on being the tank and not wanting to let people die, because I am a main tank for my Kata guild. So, no matter what, I'm always trying to make sure, like, I'm the one dying before the others, if I can. I actually don't have any more questions.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week. Next week on the GoonRogan Extreme Podcast.
It'll stretch you to your limits.